Hello, and welcome to the Blogging Pod. There's a moment happening right now that a lot of people may be missing because it's buried under headlines and commentary. A former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Charles Q. Brown Jr., gave a talk where he wasn't yelling, he wasn't accusing, but he was warning. And sometimes the quiet warnings are the ones we need to pay the most attention to. So let's just break this down in a simple way. First, we need to understand what his role was. The chairman of Joint Chiefs is not a politician. This is a person who advises on military strategy at the highest level. When someone like that speaks carefully about risk, it's not for drama. It's because they've seen things go wrong. General Brown served as chairman from 2023 until he was removed from the position in early 2025. And more recently, as of April 2026, another top military leader, the Army's chief of staff, was also pushed out. That kind of turnover at the highest levels is not something people should ignore, especially during tense global moments. One of the biggest things the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff pointed out was the scale of what a major war could look like. Most Americans today are used to smaller, more distant conflicts. But he warned that a large scale war could bring casualties that look more like World War II than anything we've seen in recent years. That's not fear talking, that's experience talking. Now, here's where it starts to matter ethically. In war, there are rules, not just moral ones, but legal ones. Things that protect, things like protecting civilians, limiting force of military targets, and avoiding unnecessary suffering. These aren't suggestions. These are lines that are supposed to keep war from turning into something worse. What Brown hinted at without saying it outright is that those lines can start to shift. And that's the first warning sign. When leaders begin to stretch what counts as legal, even if they can justify it on paper, the real world effect is that the boundaries start to move. Something that would have been questioned before becomes normalized. And once that line moves, it's very hard to move it back. The second warning sign is how decisions are made. Brown made it clear that military leaders give advice behind closed doors. They speak honestly in private. But once a decision is made, if it is judged to be legal, the military carries it out. That means the public doesn't always see the disagreement. By the time we hear about something, it may already be in motion. And that matters because it puts more responsibility on us to pay attention to patterns, not just single events. The third warning sign is leadership instability. When experienced military leaders are pushed out during a tense moment, it doesn't automatically mean something is wrong, but it does remove people who are trained to slow things down, ask hard questions, and weigh consequences. And in a situation where decisions can cost, that kind of experience matters. Now let's connect this back to ethics again in plain terms. Crossing a line in war doesn't always look like a dramatic headline. Sometimes it looks like small shifts, expanding what counts as valid targets, accepting higher civilian risk as necessary, redefining what proportional force means. Each step may sound reasonable on its own, but taken together, they can lead somewhere very different than where we started. And this is the part that we should really sit with. Brown wasn't making a political argument. He was pointing out the nature of war itself is changing and that the guardrails we rely on can weaken if we stop paying attention to them. So the takeaway isn't panic, it's awareness. Pay attention when leaders talk about legality more than responsibility. Pay attention when human costs get described in abstract terms. Pay attention when experienced voices are no longer in the room, because those are the moments when lines don't just get crossed, they get written. And once that happens, it doesn't just affect one conflict, it sets the tone for the next one and the next one after that. And that's something worth understanding before it's too late. Today's sources come from CFR.org, General Charles Q. Brown Jr., X.com, CFR.org, Wikipedia.org, Charles Q. Brown Jr., www.thecrimson.com, Joint Chiefs, IOP 4. Thank you for listening. Until next time, bye-bye for now.